What does every woman dream about in bed? Adult movies, melodramas, friends' stories, and even women themselves won't tell you about it. You see, there are things that the ladies prefer keep under wraps. Maybe they're too embarrassed to talk about them, or maybe they just don't know how to explain them to their partners. In this video, we are going to tell you in a language men can understand what 95% of women secretly dream about in bed, but don't mention it to their significant others. Watch the video to the end, and you will get another powerful tool to your arsenal, which will help you make a girl fall in love and get hooked on you. In fact, you can become her drug of choice. Starting off with the most important but not obvious aspect for many guys out there. Before engaging in lovemaking, the element of play and anticipation of the process matters a lot to women. She gets as much emotion from the game as she does from physical intimacy. For a man, the whole thing starts only in bed, while for a woman, it starts at the moment of communication, long before the bedroom time. For instance, you haven't slept together yet, but you feel that she's ready to go for it. So, on your way to your place, try playing a little game. Share a kiss at every traffic light. During this exercise, your girl will already be in anticipation of a night together. If you're already in an active relationship, you can tell your girlfriend to wait for you in bed at a specific time in the evening without clothes on. Or you can tell her to come to the date without undies and be ready for some fun activities in an unusual place that she will find out about later on. What kind of place to choose, you'll ask? It all depends on the flight of your imagination. The back seat of a car, a hotel room, the beach. There are plenty of options available. The second secret desire. Many women like to be a bad girl to their special ones. The explanation is simple. Since childhood, girls are being told not to do this and that more than boys. In adulthood, women often retain the urge to violate prohibitions. She would especially enjoy committing something forbidden with her man. One of the easiest ways to realize her attitude on the matter is to make love in an uncommon place. A movie theater, on the roof of a building, in a park. This is both an extreme and forbidden activity. This is exactly what turns women on. The third aspect. Women love the foreplay part. At this point, they warm up and get more excited for further actions. Moreover, for many girls, it's the caressing that makes them feel great, not the penetration. As you know, it takes women longer to get aroused than men. Therefore, before moving on to the next step, spend at least 10 minutes on foreplay. However, not only the duration is key here, but also the quality. Men have only one erogenous zone. Some of them believe that foreplay is all about kissing her lips, spitting on 2 fingers, and sticking them in a place where the sun is not shining. Of course, this won't be enough. Believe it or not, but touching your woman properly is an essential skill. Bro, she has erogenous zones scattered all over her body. If you know their location and ways to stimulate them during foreplay, you'll both have a much more satisfying experience. Again, you can also add the aforementioned element of game. When you hear her say, "Insert it inside me," don't rush to fulfill her request. Tease her for another 2 or 3 minutes. This will make her anticipate a process she has no control over. She doesn't know when it will happen, but she really wants it to happen. Thus, her arousal will increase significantly. In bed, you should not only touch your woman, but also talk to her. As part of the act, for example, you can tell her about your deepest fantasies or feelings. Tell her how you imagine doing it on the beach, where you can be spotted at any moment. Or imagine a situation where you met in a nightclub and went to a hotel the same night. This will spark her imagination for a bit. You're right, turn her on more. Moving on to the next aspect. Women always appreciate men's willingness to take charge in situations. It's just the way this world works. The ladies often take a passive stance, while we have to seize the initiative. As a matter of fact, women tend to associate this particular quality with confidence and strength. Anytime a woman doubts everything that's going on, it means that she expects you to show strength. Consequently, if you try to play a nice guy card and wait for everything to work out by itself, you might appear as a weak person in her eyes. Yet, keep in mind the difference between the show of strength and the use of violence. If a woman says, "Stop rushing things, silly," and smiles sweetly at the same time, it means that she is playing and waiting for you to make a further move. On the other hand, if she is like, "You sick freak, leave me alone," it definitely indicates that you are of no interest to her. So if a woman shows any doubts, don't be afraid to be moderately persistent. Try demonstrating your strength during the process too. Turn her over the way you like. Hold her arms to the bed. But again, watch her reaction so as not to scare your lady off. Strength goes hand in hand with rigidity. Yep, many women like to be taken hard. Why? Basically, women associate a man's strength with the ability to be kept safe. If a man is strong and is capable of protecting her, then she can feel relaxed in his company. However, your rigidity should be balanced, right? A man should dominate, but not oppress his partner. She needs to feel vulnerable with her partner, but comfortable at the same time. There's a difference between pulling a woman's hair or slapping her butt cheeks lightly, and when you do it so hard, you actually leave bruises. Rigidity has its own acceptable limits, and they are individual for each couple. Remember to discuss those in the meantime. Our next point in the list of women's desires is to remain a good girl whose life will be messed up by a bad boy. Girls are afraid of appearing promiscuous, so they carefully hide their true intentions. Your significant other is probably eager to try some unusual stuff, but is too afraid to ask for it. In a relationship, both should be open about their preferences. Many people choose to avoid such topics though, which is why in some couples, sex turns into a routine. Partners are simply not interested in each other's requests. Well, don't be afraid to experiment and ask about her desires, but be sure to work it out before getting into the act, as asking questions directly in bed may disgust the girls in question. When in bed, try to listen to her and monitor her reactions. Feel free to talk about your fantasies, but don't be ridiculous. For example, if you say that you want to sleep with a close friend of hers, it's highly unlikely that your lady will get turned on by this reveal. Now, this is an extremely important one. Many have heard how much women need to relax in bed. Still, very few people understand what is meant by this in practice. When men are in bed with their partners, their brains function at a maximum of 10% of their daily capacity. All thoughts are focused on the pleasure he gets from the process. Even if the partner's appearance leaves much to be desired, he can imagine another girl at that moment and still reach the peak of satisfaction. The situation is different for women. If they are not relaxed enough, they will not enjoy the process, and certainly not experience a fulfilling finale. Not every woman is able to feel comfortable during intimacy. There can be many reasons behind her problem. Perhaps a new partner is unaware of her erogenous zones, or friends may be making noise behind the wall, and the girl can't concentrate on the experience for fear that someone will enter the room. She will occasionally glance at the door and tense up upon hearing footsteps approaching. These are indications that she is not calm at the moment at all. Thus, try to remove all distractions as much as possible and spend enough time on foreplay. The next aspect relates to the post-sex stage. After completing bedtime games and before heading to do your business, give your woman at least 5 more minutes of attention. A pretty simple thing to do, which many men forget. For girls, attention after physical intimacy matters a lot. Want to be remembered by her as the best? You must find the strength to at least mutter tender words after sex. If she fulfilled some of your wishes in bed, for example, you tried a new position, then praise and thank her for her efforts, even if she was a little clumsy. Your support and attention to her is essential. Kissing would also work well. Men prefer kissing before sex, while women prefer it afterwards. What else a girl needs after a hot adventure in bed are hugs. Lots of hugs. They don't like when their partner falls asleep right away. Ladies find such signs of attention very meaningful. At last, here's another thing that for some reason not everyone adheres to. Before and after bedtime activities, don't forget about hygiene. Take a shower, make sure you smell good, and keep your nails and hair well groomed. Women often avoid mentioning these details with the fear of upsetting their significant others, but it still must be covered from time to time. The ladies may get aroused not only by your touch and words, but also by your smell. If you smell bad or are unkempt, then the whole affair will be off-putting to say the least. You may know the entire Kama Sutra by heart, but if your lack of hygiene repels the lady of your interests, she will definitely not be turned on and will not receive sufficient pleasure. Bear these points in mind, and then you will become the best lover for her. Thank you for supporting the channel with your likes and comments. See you in the next videos. Bye.